Welcome to episode 13 of The People Make the Places, Mike May and Friends, First Year Highlights. We will focus on the real-time recordings and interviews from 5 continents, so you can listen to the full versions of the ones that grab you. These highlights will be broken into 2 episodes, 1 through 7 and 8 through 12. Episode 1, pilot episode on the origin of The People Make the Places and a sampling of what will be in the episodes. Episode 2, Blind Foundation trip to Japan. Episode 3, The People of Ireland. Episode 4, Scotland and England. Episode 5, Ghana, West Africa. Episode 6, Singapore and Bali. Episode 7, Skiing on 3 continents. I've always found when people have asked me the question, what is your favorite place to go in the world? It's all about the people that I meet in different places. This could be anywhere from a good friend in Switzerland to a cab driver in Dublin. These are the people that really define the experience that I have when I'm traveling. And I think that's probably the case with a lot of people. Mike and Ron skiing at the 1984 Sarajevo Olympics.
Right, go, turn left, go. Easy right.
Mike May, USA, 2 Minuten, 1 Sekunde, 46 Hundertstel. Time for number 5, Mike May, USA, 2 minutes, 01.46.
My first ever international trip was to Ghana in 1976, and there's a lot more to tell about that. Way fun in Scotland.
Tourists, by their very nature, are notoriously an impulsive lot, so we decided to send our reporter Manny Jasmy to see if he could keep up with them when they hit Edinburgh.
Over this way. As in this way.
A company of canes tapping their way around Edinburgh. From the brand new Scottish Parliament building to the city's medieval castle, a 20-strong party of American tourists, the vast majority of them visually impaired, sightseeing with the aid of global positioning satellites.
Flying from Buenos Aires to Iguazu Falls, they didn't want my Sinai dog Utah to be with the other passengers, so they had me sit with the pilot in the cockpit. They invited my girlfriend to come up and sit in my lap in the jump seat, and we got to observe Iguazu Falls circling in from the front of a 727.
Well, we're now descending at about 10,000 feet.
Nope, we're at 3,000.
3,000 feet. And coming in for a landing. We're in the front of a 727 flying from Buenos Aires to Iguazu with our pilots Daniel, Jorge, and Rolf.
We're above the Iguazu River. We're getting lower to the trees. Our altitude is 1,300 feet. We're now approaching the runway. It's on a plateau, a red clay plateau with grass. Well, now we're at 0. We're landing now.
Now we're right up against one of the falls here on the Brazilian side. The wind's blowing, caused by the water crashing down, and the mist is coming all around.
I have a story to tell another time about sharing my birthday with Stevie Wonder. I've been blessed to become close friends with him, and I've traveled to a number of places. We were both very close to our mothers, and he came to my mother's memorial and shared some thoughts.
And as I was listening to the many things said about OJ, I thought about Lula May, because my mother was out of control.
Lifelong friend Ralph Emery. We had scores of tape letters between each other from 1974 until he passed away about 3 or 4 years ago.
Hello, Mike. This is Ralph. It's February 4th, a Monday, and it's 5:30 in the morning. I go to bed very early and I wake up very early. At night, there's not much to do, and it's so incredibly cold. The only warm place is bed. I got your tape letter last Wednesday, and again, it was sure good to hear from you.
Welcome to episode 2 of The People Make the Places, Mike May and Friends.
My name is Parissa Lamara, and I am the mom to the 2 kids. I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
My name is Mina. I'm 16, and I also went to Japan.
I am Brennan. I am 20 years old, and I was also in Japan. I'm Bart. I am the stepfather and husband that went on the trip.
We decided to go to Japan and to Anjo, Japan in particular, because we live in a city called Huntington Beach in Southern California, and our sister city is in Japan and is Anjo, Japan. And we had heard, because none of us have ever been there, that Japan is much more accessible for the blind. And so we wanted to go to the sister city, check out how they do things and how different places in Japan provides the accessibility in their infrastructure for the visually impaired and blind, and bring those ideas back to our hometown because they're redoing their downtown.
Airports are always an experience. There's always something that happens. So Japan was a little bit better because I was with my family, so there was a sighted assist. But we actually did ask a gate assist to help us at the airport to help us get through TSA a little bit easier. So we flew Zip Air, which is one of the few airlines that goes from LAX, Los Angeles to Tokyo. And I believe it's a law where the flight attendant actually has to come tell you where the bathrooms are, where the closest exit is, and where your oxygen mask will come from, and then how to summon someone if you need someone. And I have only had that happen a couple of times, but the Japanese flight attendants actually came. They told us all the things.
The best part was that the kids couldn't see was that the Japanese flight attendants showed them the little placard card that's got all the pictures.
Oh yeah, I could tell she had really long nails. She'd tap it. She'd and you can go shopping here. I was like, okay.
Well, we first landed in Tokyo, which was insane. New York City on drugs in the best way. There were massive billboards and throngs, and I mean throngs of people going this way and that. There were advertisements and all kinds of different smells and sounds, and it was very humid. It was actually quite overstimulating at times, but we made it through. And being blind, it was quite the experience.
When you're crossing a street, if you're trying to get into a subway, move around, you had to basically bully your way around if you wanted to get in line somewhere. We were a sighted guide. The kids had their canes, and there were times where we had them fold their canes up and put them on their luggage, depending on where we were at, and then hold on to us. So it was difficult in Tokyo with the transportation, stairs, etc., to kind of hold both. Some people would see the cane, but a lot of people didn't because they were so focused on getting where they needed to go.
So at the beginning, I took a picture. We were on either a bus or a train or something, and I couldn't even see Bart. He was so many people had come in between him and I that I put my phone up in the air and took a picture to try to find where's Waldo? Where's Bart? Trying to find him.
Japanese breakdance.
We met a Japanese breakdancer the last night.
A blind
Japanese breakdancer. I had corresponded with him on Instagram because we've got the Instagram account, and he had liked something or messaged me or sent something a while back. And this was even before the grant. And so when I figured we were going, I started reaching out to him again, and he speaks very little English. And so I told him we're going to be in Japan. We would love to meet you if it's possible. And somehow it all worked out. We ended up meeting him the last night. And there was a major language barrier. There was a lot of Google Translate. We went out to dinner. He gave the kids a breakdancing lesson in a studio that they paid for.
Whoa.
It was really, really good.
Really cool experience.
They ordered for us the locals, we got to have, but even questions I would put on Google Translate and I would ask, they would answer something completely different. So there was a total language barrier. But the point of all this is I asked him, what's the hardest part about being blind or in Japan, or how did the Japanese look
address the blind?
Yes, culturally. And what he answered was that it always comes down to the kindness of people. It doesn't matter where you are and what they have in place. It comes down to the kindness of people. And I think that is true across the board, anywhere you travel in the world. Even if you're blind or sighted, it comes down to the kindness of the people. So I agree with you. It's the people that make a difference.
Most blind and visually impaired and other people with disabilities, they're not mainstream. They go to special schools. They go to schools for people with disabilities. And we talked to our Japanese breakdancer friend, and he said that he went to a normal school because he was born with more vision, but he didn't have any support at all. And he said that any support he had was from his friends and not anyone from the school.
I also really like learning that Japanese teens and kids who are blind really love Harry Potter as well. All in all, it was a wonderful, magical experience, and we thank Flight for Sight for their donation.
This is Mike May and Gina Harper, and we're glad to have been some of the first to hear about your story. So Konbawa, arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you.
This is Mike May with episode 3 So I'm here with Charles LaPierre, the co-founder of Sendero Group and participant on Wave Fun when we went to Ireland and Scotland. And having listened to the recent recordings that bring that time back from 2004, what are your highlights? What are your memories that brings up?
Oh boy, what an amazing trip that was. Listening to the old podcast and audio tracks and blog posts, it brought back amazing fond memories of us fearless travelers going out and looking at the this new place, trying out our new maps, our Sendero GPS. I remember getting there before with Mike and checking out the geocaches to make sure that they were safe for everyone to go and try to find these, because some of them they actually put them in. I remember one was in a graveyard. Like, okay, are we gonna be able, like, I don't want to be like having folks stumbling over tombstones or something. So we were going and looking at these, making sure it was all safe for folks. And I remember being on the radios and sending out, okay, everyone, here's the latitude and longitude, try to find us. And, we'll give you a beer for the first group that finds us. And it was just so much fun. Like, Mike, I'm looking at some of the stuff that you and I invented and wrote and tested. And I still think that the GPSs of today, I'm like, why is it taking me that way? That's too many turns. This is not good for a blind person, right? I'm like, you wanted a straight shot this way and left. And my wife is always constantly saying, are you sure you're reading that right? I'm like, I didn't write the software for this one, honey. This one, I have no idea why it's taking us this way. It was tailored for the blind in mind, right? That it was from the ground up. Like, this was born accessible, and you were able to just use it and know where you were, what was around you. We had that awesome look around mode, which was just incredible and way ahead of its time. And it would tell you important, really cool things that you were passing, right? As you were, in a car, not knowing what was going on, and you had this thing talking to you, and it was like your little friend that was like saying, oh, by the way, look at over here, look at over there. It's just incredible. We've been all over the globe there, Mike. New Zealand, Australia. Remember the reverse bungee shot that you and I did?
Oh my gosh, yeah, the sky screamer.
That's it. And we were trying to get the GPS to track while we were being shot up into space.
Yeah, we verified on the Braille note that it went 200 kilometers an hour.
So we're here in Matt Malloy's pub in Westport, and there's a major championship game between Mayo, which is the county area that we're in, and Dublin. They're playing in Dublin, and Mayo just scored a minute ago. And Bob and I are sitting here having a Guinness, and all the locals are standing up and cheering, and we don't know the game at all because Irish football is quite different than either soccer or American football. A very enthusiastic crowd. Matt Malloy is the flute player for the band The Chieftains. Bob, you enjoying yourself?
Oh, you bet. Yeah.
How's that Guinness?
Very good.
Are you able to follow this game?
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
How do you follow it?
Well, I'm just listening as close as I can to the announcer and the cheering of the people. I can tell when Mayo has gotten a goal, for example.
Because this is all a pro-Mayo crowd, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
What happened?
Dublin got a goal.
Oh, no. So what's the score now?
It's 112 to 112. About 10 minutes to go.
Oh, my God.
So Dublin...
It's all tied up.
What's your name? My name is Helen, I'm Gina. Helen, what increment numbers did the goals equal? Like 6.7?
Three.
So 112? So they got
No, 1 goal and 12. It's 1 goal and 12 points. It's 15 points.
I see. Okay, got it.
This is day one, Sunday, of our walk from Westport to Newport. This is Mike May. I'm here with
Gina Harper, Sue Sweetman,
Yuli, Tank, and way over there, still pairing his receiver, is Mr. Bob Sweetman. And who's this lovely fellow next to you?
AJ.
Okay, we're pairing our receivers. We've got the replay going. It's a really mild morning here, just leaving our bed and breakfast. It's our anniversary, first anniversary, and we're leaving the Killery House, a lovely bed and breakfast. Let's see. Well, I guess if we do a nearby POI search. But other than one crossing of a road so far, it's been exclusively for walkers and bikers with lots of good signage. Just passed through the towns of Nakrani and Karobeg. Now this section of the path is just a typical paved kind of bike path, and it's running along the N59, maybe 50 feet away from the road with plants and things in between. There's been a lot of pastures along the way, just past a bunch of cows and a few barns. Pretty infrequent foot traffic. The dogs all have their booties on now, so we have 12 dog booties to keep track of. We're walking through the fields here and almost to our final destination. Kind of sounds like maybe Gina had some indigestion. That would be the local sheep.
So, Sue, after listening to the recordings of our great time on the Great Western Greenway in Ireland in 2015, what are some highlights that you remember?
Well, it was a great trip. I love going anywhere with Mike and Gina just because I feel like we've traveled well together and we're all sort of know how to kind of take stuff as it comes and don't get too stressed out over things that don't go exactly the way you want. So travel is fun with folks like that. But it was just a beautiful, beautiful place.
Where do you think we should go next?
Pretty much anywhere. When you say it's about the people and not the places, that's definitely true. Like we love going to pretty, gorgeous, kind of out of the way places. But when you're doing it with folks you really enjoy, then it pretty much doesn't matter where you are. You can always find something fun to do.
Hear, hear. On to the next piece of the puzzle, right? Gina Harper?
Yes.
Blind woman of action?
On to coffee.
Coffee?
Coffee.
Oh.
And Butler.
Welcome to The People Make the Places, Episode 4. These are blog entries that were written at the time, and they're clone voices. We managed to make the transition from the Killarney guest house to the Cork airport without losing any people or bags. Check-in was a breeze, as was security. The fun came when we lined up to board the flight to Edinburgh, and all of a sudden the gate agents were asking who was blind, how many of us were totally blind, visually impaired, and fully sighted. Jason said that the other low-cost airline, Ryanair, expressly has a limit of 2 disabled people per flight. Air Aaron said they didn't have such a limit. I guess they need the business. However, they decided that their policy manual did not allow 2 blind people to sit together. I tried to convince them that the blind people would lead the way out of the airplane if the cabin was smoky, but they didn't buy this argument. So they delayed the departure as they reassigned us seats. Many of us were inclined to make a stink, but we also wanted to get to Edinburgh. It wasn't as though we would be flying this airline regularly. Paul and Kathy Shelton, both blind, did some quick thinking. Kathy gave her cane to Teresa, who is sighted, in order that Kathy could sit with her husband. This gives me some satisfaction that Air Aaron didn't have the last word on this absurd policy. We figured out a way to sit with whom we wanted.
Monday, September 27th, 2004, by Dave Jones, Glasgow or Bust. We were very fortunate to be assisted by some very friendly station attendants. They offered to store our bags in the locked manager's office until we came back for them later. This was an offer that went way beyond the norm, and we were pleased to accept. As we all moved through the ticket gates and into the main lobby of the station, I had my first look around. This was a huge building, and it was filled with people either just arriving or lining up to board for a different destination. Initially, our group was a bit overwhelmed, and we huddled together to figure out what to do next. I decided that we needed to locate Jason's friend Monty, whom we planned to meet at this station. I grabbed Jason, and we two headed for the Dundas Street exit. Betsy and Val also broke from the group and headed to the tourist board, where they hoped to obtain sightseeing info for Glasgow. Jason and I walked out the exit and into the open air. It was still crowded with people, but I quickly spotted a tall, dark-headed young man moving towards the entrance to the station. I instinctively called out to him, and he stopped to look towards my unfamiliar voice. Jason and Monty were quickly talking, as old friends do when they had not seen each other in a long time. I left those two and went back inside to retrieve the rest of the group. However, we were forced to say another goodbye. Carl and Elaine, Mark, and me and Ilona had decided to break away. I was surprised by my own brief emotion as I hugged Elaine. I realized that I had formed a bond with all of these people and didn't want them to leave. As we made our way out of the station, I was pleased to note that the rain had stopped and the sun was trying to pop out from behind the clouds. After a few moments of discussion, we decided to follow Monty to the local shopping district. It was only a few blocks over. As we rounded the corner and stepped onto Buchanan Street, I was again amazed at the number of people moving along on the street. I realized that this was a different world than the malls I was used to back home. This street was lined on both sides with individual shops of all kinds. Almost immediately, the girls stopped at Thornton's, which is a chocolate shop. During our travels, this became a favorite stop whenever we were out shopping, and their candies were all very delightful. We made another purchase to make sure we had plenty for our girls back home in KC. Just next door was a tea and coffee shop. This too proved to be very popular, and almost everyone from the group bought something here. As we moved along, we heard a street musician playing a song with his pan flute. We stopped for a moment to enjoy the sounds. Only a few steps further along was a man with an acoustic guitar. More shops and more purchases. Then we noticed a crowd gathering just ahead. As we moved closer, we heard a street band and the booming sound of drums. I had Rich in tow and moved us into the crowd so we could see what was going on. To my surprise, I found a group of 5 men playing traditional Scottish music. There was a large open area in the street, and these guys were playing music and running around and having way too much fun. Each was dressed in a kilt and other traditional garb. The scene was very exciting, and we stayed for a while just to soak up the atmosphere.
My name is Valerie Stannard. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. And at the time we did the trip to Scotland, I was working for the YMCA, where I later retired.
What are some of the highlights that it brought up in your memory and some of the people and maybe some stuff that's not in the podcast that would be interesting for people to hear about?
Well, I remember the crown jewel. The part I remember is her taking me into a different room, letting me actually touch a lot of the stuff that she had it in this velvet case. She had some of them in there, and I actually got to feel them and pick them up, and I was so scared that I would, drop it or something like that. And she was so nice. I remember Betsy being like, oh, wow, you got to touch those, which she got to see them, but I didn't get to see the glitter and the glitz. They were a lot different than what I had imagined. The other thing that I remember was that cannon and how big the balls were. The concrete, well, they felt like concrete, whatever they were, I don't know. But the balls were just ginormous, and how we were talking about, I had never really seen like something that they would, real cannon like that one we saw.
This is one of the trips that I took my son Carson on in 2002 to London when he was 10 years old. I gave him the tape recorder and let him narrate what he was experiencing.
We'll be leaving to England pretty soon. Now we're at our hotel called Leicester, and it's a nice place. We're at Warwick Castle, and it is just awesome. Right, I'm doing the challenge of picking up swords, and it's pretty difficult to pick up these heavy swords. I'm in the room also where they keep all the weapons. Now I'm in the torture chamber, and there's very weird stuff down here. Now I'm in some weird model place where they have models of the people and speakers, and now I'm gonna climb to one of the towers. You go up and up and up. It's very high.
Buckingham Palace is straight ahead. 2,000 people are expected to attend the service for the Queen Mother.
It's amazing how many people are just going to this Queen Mother's funeral. There's miles and miles and miles of people in this line. Billions of people. We just saw the grandsons of the Queen Mother. Just went into the funeral. Yeah, I did. It's just awesome. We just saw the coffin through the archway. It's everything in there. You can just see Prince Harry, Prince William, all of them. Oh, it's just amazing. It's just amazing.
First date with Gina Harper, London, 2011.
It was really amazing to travel so independently, 2 blind people by ourselves, using technology. We came back to the U.S. and pretty much continued to travel together.
And we love that hop-on off-bus, which we heard in the peak with Carson. And it's such a great way to experience the city and spend time where you want and otherwise move on and also get good narration to go.
The other really neat thing about the trip to London is we saw the play Goat. And Mike knows the playwright, and we were able to meet the main actress who was super friendly and allowed us to touch all of the set things as well as their costumes. That was so special.
The People Make the Places, Episode 5 on Ghana. But the first time I ever traveled, I didn't have all the tips and tricks that I know now. I was going to go to the American University of Beirut in my last year in college at University of California, Davis. And 4 days before we're supposed to leave, the dean of the university was shot and all hell broke loose in Beirut. This is 1975. The trip was canceled. And I've been planning this, working on it for a year, figured out what I was going to do with my seeing eye dog in mostly a Muslim area and how to deal with the dog in a foreign country and all the academic stuff and dealing with Arabic. I'm not going. What am I going to do? I didn't want to spend my last year at Davis. I was ready to do something crazy. So I looked around and they said, well, we can go to the American University in Denmark. I don't think so. I mean, nothing against Denmark, but it was too easy. I was looking for a cultural slap in the face, and that wasn't it. So I ended up signing up for a program to go to Ghana, and you stay with a family and do a semester. Right as I was ready to go, they said, well, sorry, we can't find a family that'll take a white blind guy with long hair and a seeing eye dog. So here we are again. I talked to the head of the program, and she said, well, why don't you just come anyway? We'll figure it out when we get there. That's my style of person. And so we got over to Accra, capital of Ghana, and I took classes at the university in a language called Twi. We worked on finding another place for me to live as we went through the university. It was an amazing challenge with a dog, and your only choice is getting run over by a car or bailing into the open sewers that are between the street and the building. And talk about trying to get, flag down a taxi with a seeing eye dog in a place where they only view dogs for security purposes. I had to really come up with some neat techniques for that, which basically meant hide the dog. And when the guy pulls over, jump into the car, pull the dog in, and then wait as you go through this process, him screaming at you for half an hour to get out of his taxi in a different language. That's what happened almost every day. It takes a lot out of you when you gotta fight to just get back to the dorm and you're missing class and I can't even get a ride. Well, they finally found a village out in the hinterland where I could stay with this a Muslim family. Unfortunately, they didn't speak Twi, which I didn't know that much of, but a little bit. They spoke Nzima. So off I went to this jungle village, no running water, no electricity, to help build the first cement school. It was a real challenge. Just dealing with not having a language is mentally challenging. The physical challenge of being in a tropical hot climate, doing a lot of physical labor was really hard. I'm so weird compared to what they're used to. What did they do about it? But they were incredible because as I showed my interest in digging this foundation and helping to construct this school, they weren't like a lot of people and kind of lowered expectations and saying, oh, you're the blind guy, just sit him off in the corner and let him watch. They helped facilitate me doing this job. So I sweated right along with them for 5 or 6 hours a day. Incredible experience surviving Ghana. Unfortunately, I got malaria and dysentery and came home early. The fondness of that and the things that it taught me about the rest of the world is irreplaceable. So we'll begin in February 1976 with some cassette recordings that I had hours of until my tape recorder ran out.
Okay, it's Monday, the 16th. And today, things were looking up a little bit. Got up and had breakfast over at the Ford Foundation guest house on campus. Oh, incidentally, while I was over there, I met two people from Davis, Bill Drips and a girl that was traveling with him. And they were just on a 6-week excursion, and they're staying in Ghana for a couple of weeks anyway. And he'd already had malaria. He'd only been here for a week.
Microfono cieciało. Musi Amerykanie, Debbie, Minfi, Chile, Minfi, America.
I just ate it in my second gutter. I told you about these trenches they have around here about a couple feet deep. Well, I just fell in one. So a car came roaring by. They don't give pedestrians the right of way. Right here, they just beep their horn and just keep on roaring. You better get the heck out of the way or you've had it.
This is Mike Kofi May.
So my name is Alexander Kojo Tete. Kojo is a Monday male born. And then Tete is my family name, but it's also the second male born. So I'm from Ghana.
Where are your favorite places to go?
The people make the places. My favorite places to go in Ghana is the Volta region and in the northern regions. If we are within Africa, then Kenya, outside Africa, US, and New York.
I'm Terica Roberts.
I'm Grayson Roberts, and I'm 10 years old.
And we won a grant from Flight Foresight for $10,000, a travel grant where we chose to go to Ghana, Accra, Ghana, in order to highlight some of the disparities of accessibility there.
I became famous from a lemonade stand in our front yard, and another influencer, his name is Charlie Rocket, he helped us hold a bigger lemonade stand at kind of the office where he works. It's the Dream Factory in Los Angeles. And we had a couple hundred people there, and I got to sing and play with Travis Barker. We asked our viewers to donate money so we can buy canes. And another big company in Canada for tools for disabled people like me, it's called Amputech. They donated 100 canes to us.
Oh yeah, we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. You guys can follow us on Grayson's Instagram, Grayson's View, at Grayson's_view. He's also at Grayson's View on
all platforms.
Rin Kembley. We can hear the ocean from here. It's about 6 miles away. But you can hear it off in the distance. It's so quiet. All the huts around here are thatched and mud huts. They have a school that's already built, a secondary school. We met the chief tonight, and we have an official meeting ceremony tomorrow. But he's dressed all in white, a white caftan from head to foot. It's a white beard, and apparently he's just incredibly handsome.
Yes, TikTok, TikTok is classic and number. TikTok, TikTok is soft, short, never to go again when you my God.
What's your name?
My name is Isa.
Isa.
Yes,
How old are you?
10 years.
When I was a chief. When I was a chief was I.
Singapore and Bali, episode 6. Now we're going to go experience the Singapore Metro Underground. It's this whole world of hallways and shops. It's like a giant mall with shops along the way connecting us to the different train lines. And we have our wonderful friend Cheng Hock. And Cheng Hock has his dog Grace. I think the full name is Gracefully. This is Cheng, who I've known for 30 years, starting at 1995 or so at Arkansas, right?
94 we walk around.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of GPSing together, starting with the Strider days. And Gina's here, of course.
Hi, welcome to Singapore.
And then Grace down here on the floor. She's a yellow lab, right?
Yes,
yeah. From guide dogs. And Cheng had the first guide dog in Singapore. What year was that?
2005.
So I know when I think of Singapore, the people who make the places are right here. And Kuat Cheng Hock is the main man.
Gina, Blind Women of Action in Singapore. First day in Singapore, and it's very interesting in their metro that they have a solid wall that was originally intended to keep in the air conditioning. It's very cool down here. And they have like an elevator door, so when it's time to get on or off, these elevator doors open. And a secondary bonus is that so no blind person can fall in, nor a sighted person, and that seems like a great safety tool that they're using.
This is to remind you the train is coming.
Yeah, I like it.
Please mind the platform gap.
Gina, Blind Woman of Action in Ubud, Bali. I'm here with a friend of mine, Dennis, and he started an organization that I've been supporting that I think is super meaningful. So Dennis, tell us about your organization.
Yes, we started the organization about 15 years ago, and we decided to focus on keeping young girls in school. That's one of our main focus. And then also to do after-school programs for children.
Your name is?
My name is Jatmika.
Jatmika. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Yes, you.
Thank
Sama-sama.
Ya, ya, baik. Kamu udah, Rita? Oh, udah, ayo.
Lutut kaki.
I'm so excited. That sound, it sounds like a seal. It's one of the frogs here. I love the sounds. And it was also described to me about beautiful lights in the evening time at this beautiful outdoor restaurant where you get to hear all these sounds, and there's a beautiful breeze on the patio, and it's right next to the ocean. Oh, it's so exciting. Listen to these animals. I love that.
It's a pleasant morning here in Bali, standing on the deck of our new place with the wonderful soundscape of the spotted doves.
The sound's getting louder. Yeah, there are some monkey jumping to the trees, and then every single monkey like producing their own sound. Maybe they're calling her friend or their friend to get closer, come along and play together. There could be more than 20 monkeys on the top of the trees here, we can see.
We don't want to offend anybody. They're really trying to be helpful, so it's a combination of we're thankful, but we're also trying to politely fend them off. And it's difficult because they just have a knee-jerk reaction when they see us approaching steps to grab us and to count the steps. We also have a host who's English-speaking, and he's never been around blind people, so there is the opportunity to contrast how he's reacting with perfectly good English and how the people that don't speak English are reacting. And the thing they're worried about the most is all the little cracks and bumps in the sidewalk, and it's too narrow, and certainly the steps. But what we want to know is, where do we turn left? Where do we go right? Where do we go straight?
We are on our first journey alone, unescorted, from the main town in Nui Kuning to our hotel called Alam Shanti on what we believe is a dark road. We are both totally blind, and we are using GPS. The roads are pretty dicey, so it is kind of adventurous. Like, there's big potholes.
Oh, that's that fan from that hotel.
Yeah, one of our landmarks on our way down here, and we have to be careful because there's a bunch of crazy motorcycles riding around, and
There are so many scooters in this town.
you can hear our canes. We basically are trailing things.
It'd be nice if it was either dirt or gravel or pavement or grass, and then we'd follow that surface, but this is a combination of all four.
Right in front of us, the temple named Dalam Agung is a place to pray for Shiva God. Outside area we call Jabasisi, middle section we call Jabatengah, and an inner section we call Jeroan. Jeroan is the most holy area. Only, I said, people performing a prayer could enter the inner area. Now we are in Jabasisi, or outside area. So outside to the middle, we call it Candi Bentara, split gateway, left and right, which is indicating balance symbol or positive negative symbol. And then from the middle court to the inner court, there will be Koryagong, or unity gate. This is against the positive and negative, combined become one, will be harmony.
The people who represent skiing, episode 7.
You know, everyone that I've had the privilege of skiing with over the years, there's always a story about them. 3 years ago, Mike came to the Yellowstone Club from Big Sky, and we had about, just sort of a standard 18-inch powder day. And we skied all morning, and we went down a run and kind of gave his wife the day off, and I was guiding. And then we went and had lunch. After lunch, we went to that same run, and Mike said, "Didn't we go down this morning?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Do you mind if I go first?" And he did. And I have to be very honest, I was a little nervous following him down that hill, but he managed to turn before the trees hit him.
I was also fortunate to be in a documentary by Warren's son, Kurt Miller, narrated by Robert Redford and Warren Miller.
Like most movements, this one began with a crystallizing event. Like Mike May, total blindness from a chemical explosion.
I blew myself up and almost died when I was 3. I ended up blind, which was a blessing compared to what might have happened.
Imagine Mike May blinded at just 3 years old. Mike's lifelong attitude was one of navigating around or crashing through every obstacle.
Miguel, forward. There was a little part of me that said there's got to be a workaround, because this is how I live life. There's workarounds, there's always a way.
That curiosity and willingness to crash through carried Mike all over the world, meeting presidents and celebrities and starting his own company. He tried virtually every sport, but for Mike, skiing was something special.
Skiing was about being there, connecting with something that he couldn't see with his eye.
What's amazing about skiing, it's a highly visual sport. And therefore, if you can do it as a blind person, you're throwing off any chains, any bondage, anything that kind of tying you down. For me, 65 miles an hour, it's really kind of embarrassing. I really wanted to break 100.
This race is gonna be a cinch.
Well, I'm John McCauley. I played with the San Francisco 49ers in 1984. We haven't chopped up the slopes yet at Kirkwood. We've only been able to smooth out the moguls at Sugar Bowl, Squaw, and Alpine Meadows so far, but we'll venture our way over to Kirkwood here.
This is Ricky Hundley speaking, the linebacker for the Denver Broncos. And this is my first time here at Purgatory skiing. After 3 days of skiing, I made it down the race run.
Okay, I'm John Grimsley. I'm a linebacker for the Houston Oilers. And I'm just out here skiing here with all these handicapped people, and it's just great. It's great that these people don't give up and you keep on going and going, and eventually you're going to come out on top. And that's what I'd like to tell you right now.
Hello, Jim Everett, quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams. I want you guys to know out here at Purgatory we're having a great time. Mike is very inspirational. You guys ought to come out here and get after it. We're having a blast. Why don't you guys come out and have a blast with us?
Hi, I'm Sherman White, formerly of the Buffalo Bills. Now a California resident, I love the California hills. See you there.
I wanted to have Ron Salviolo on here because when I think back over the 30, 40 years of friendship and skiing together, Ron is really what has made that enjoyable.
Yeah, I founded at that time Kirkwood Instruction for Blind Skiers, and I believe 1979. We really felt that having the guide ski in front of the blind skier was far much easier and more accurate for the blind person to follow the guide or to get down the mountain. When we brought our blind ski team, I think it was close to 8 to 10 blind people and their guides all made the national team. We went over to Switzerland. I believe every single one of us took medals. You took 3 gold medals with significant lead times. Every one of our blind skiers had their guide skiing in front of them. You always want to win, but on the other hand, we were both so delighted to pass this technique on to blind racers around the world.
This is Mike May with Ron Salviola at the 14th Winter Games in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia. We're out here on the course at Yahorina, where the women's downhill will be run shortly. One of the most exciting events is that the best handicapped male amputees of the world were just skiing here a few minutes ago, skiing down this same course in front of the whole world. And now we're taking the course to see what it's like ourselves.
It's pretty exciting out here.
And here we go. Go. Easy right. Go. Go. Easy left. Take it easy.
We're on
Go. Easy right. Go. Easy left. Go. Rhythm. Easy right. Go. Easy left. Go. 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 Steep ahead. Turn right. Go. Looking good. Number 1. Go. Easy left. Steeper. Rhythm. Turn right. Go. Turn right. Height. Go. Go. In the pocket. Turn left. Number 1. Go. 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 Left. Get out of the way. Guys are standing right in the middle of the race in the finishing line. Vai ver. Hard right to stop. Right here. All right, cameras are all over the place. Camera, Michael.
Somebody's going to run into me.
Course.
February 13th,
women's giant slalom.
On the course is competitor number 15, Debbie Armstrong from United States.
We're here at the second run of the giant slalom, the Yahorina Mountain here at the 84 Sarajevo Olympics.
Konačno vrijeme za takmičarku Debbie Armstrong je 1:12:01. Total time for Debbie Armstrong is 2:20:98. It's third place.
Sure enough, 4 years later in Calgary for the 1988 Winter Olympics, disabled skiers were skiing a parallel event to the regular Olympics. And here's an interview with one of the first blind people to ever be in one of the Paralympics. He too sadly passed away from retinal blastoma.
We've got John Novotny here, the first blind American to ever be in the Olympics. John, how does it feel?
Well, Mike, I tell you, it's really an honor both to be here as a U.S. representative, also as a representative for disabled population, and I hope that this is one big step forward in trying to integrate the sport.
Skiing in Chile, 1987.
We're here in the lobby of the Portillo Hotel, trying to get out, which we actually have been for a couple of days. Been snowed in, and the helicopters are coming in, evacuating people. Even though it's snowing pretty hard, they seem to be making it in and out. Okay, we're now in the helicopter getting ready to take off. It's a little crazy. I guess maybe, I don't even know if we're off the ground. Pretty crazy. I can't even tell. I guess we're just flying over all these cliffs and everything. It was really crazy getting on because I couldn't hear anything, and people were just grabbing me and pushing me this way and that. So all of a sudden I just got my hand on a seat, dived into it, threw Utah up in the air over my shoulder. Here we are.
From South America to Europe, those places are defined by my mother OJ, by Ron, by Warren Miller, and many other friends. Little do you know when raising your children what will stick and what will not. And I couldn't be prouder of both boys. From Wyndham watching Warren Miller ski movies at age 2 to ski racing and now working on ski patrol at Sugar Bowl, whenever I find time to hit the slopes, it is with friends and with Wyndham. Here's a fun story about Warren Miller and Wyndham that I gave at a speech celebrating Warren in 2007.
So at age 2, before my son had even been on the slopes, he had plastic skis on and he'd watch Warren Miller movies like Barney movies for other kids. And this kid would literally ski down the stairs. He had plastic skis from his older brother. He'd do flips off of the couches. And that was only the start. When we went up to the ski slopes for the first time, and a ski instructor said to a 3-year-old little kid, well, what can you do? He just hopped in place and did a flip right where he was standing. When he was 4, we were skiing up at the top of a run on Kirkwood. This is a little tricky of an operation. My wife is guiding me, and I met her skiing, and I'm carrying my son who's scared because it's icy and it's snowy and it's steep up there. And then my little tenacious 4-year-old is skiing ahead, and he's getting impatient waiting for us because we're not kind of going fast enough. And all of a sudden he disappears off this cliff. It makes you a little concerned. Well, it was the last run of the day, so when we got down at the bottom of the mountain, the ski patrol, of course, wouldn't let us go back up. They had to go off on a search for our 4-year-old. They eventually found him. He was fine after all the admonishments. And I said, Wyndham, what was going on? And he said, Daddy, I thought you'd understand that the powder was up past my tummy.
I often told Warren, you've created a monster. Those are the highlights of episodes 1 through 7. Check out the full episodes available on all platforms. Stay tuned for highlights, part 2, episodes 8 through 12. Thanks to everyone who made these places special. Please share and rate The People Make the Places, Mike May and Friends.